Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having this hearing today. I want to talk a little bit about the inconsistencies that we're hearing from the federal level, the state level, local levels. I think it's been the double standards that have been put in place that have been very stressful and for my constituents and infuriating, quite frankly. For example, just recently, our mayor announced that if you're a baseball star or a basketball star, or even a performer, that you don't need a vaccine to continue doing your job. Yet 1,500 city workers, firefighters, police officers, teachers, they were fired for failing to comply with the vaccine mandate. I would love to hear Dr. Welensky's opinion on what science was my mayor using in saying that, you know, if you're a Brooklyn net, you don't need the vaccination, but if you are a New York City firefighter, you do. Is there a science that was being followed there?
Thank you, Congresswoman. So let me just say that CDC provides guidance at the national level. That guidance and recommendations are really intended to be able to be useful and in places such as Cherokee Nation, as well as New York City, as well as rural Montana. As we put those guidances forward, we certainly have recommended strongly both vaccines and booster shots, demonstrating that boosters are working. Our data demonstrate that if you are vaccinated and boosted, as I just mentioned, you have a 21-fold less likelihood of death compared to if you're unvaccinated. In the context of this guidance, though, we have always said that this guidance is applied locally, and that we give, and we're very deferential to our political leaders locally to apply the guidance for what is happening locally. This is critically important because this disease is local. What is happening with disease in your county, in your jurisdiction? So as we have provided high-level guidance and recommendations that is intended to be applied, we certainly would be deferential to the local leaders for how those policies should be made.
But shouldn't there be consistency? Why is a Brooklyn Nets player, or let's say before it was even if you're a fan of the stadium, you need to be vaccinated, but if you were playing on the court, you do need to be vaccinated. Now we're seeing that if you're an athlete or a performer in New York City, you don't need to be vaccinated, but if you're a New York City first responder, you do. I mean, don't you think it's important that the municipalities have consistency here? I mean, isn't it wrong that people are losing their livelihoods if they choose not to be mandated, particularly in light of this new decision by our mayor?
You know, certainly I can't speak for mayor's decisions or how he made those decisions. What I can say is the CDC recommendations and guidance is to get vaccinated and to get boosted. We know those vaccines are saving lives. Those boosters are saving lives. So from our guidance perspective, we would recommend it.
And what is the CDC guidance related to vaccine mandates for public school students across the country?
The CDC does actually not apply any mandates. The CDC, again, for all vaccinations and school-age children as well, we don't have mandates. We have guidance. And what we do is synthesize all of those policies on our CDC website. So it's transparent as to where those policies are, but the CDC does not apply those mandates.
Okay. And lastly, what is the administration telling you about, I guess there's a push now to pass a new COVID relief package. And my concern is that there have been billions of dollars in fraud in both the Paycheck Protection Program and the Unemployment Insurance Fund. I understand as part of the chairman's memo regarding this meeting that part of the topic was going to be, you know, programs for economic development. I understand that you're at CDC and not necessarily administering these programs, but have you had any conversations with your colleagues in the administration on how to ensure that this money that was fraudulently taken from the taxpayers is returned to the Treasury? Because I am hesitant to support any type of additional funding if we are not going to have accountability for the up to hundreds of billions, it's estimated, roughly 400 billion is the high estimate, that has been taken fraudulently through the PPP and unemployment insurance program.
Here's what I can tell you, Representative. What I can say is we're in a critical juncture right now where we are low on funds in the federal government in order to not only purchase vaccines, boosters, tests, and therapeutics, but to deliver them and administer them to the American people. We at CDC are deeply concerned about our ability to look at vaccine effectiveness studies that are germane into how we use these. looking at studies of long COVID, post-COVID conditions over the long term. What do these post-COVID conditions mean? And
Well, I've run out of time. I
Cool.
just want to simply say that we should find out what happened to that money, because to ask the taxpayers for more when we have hundreds of billions of dollars that was lost is just unconscionable. So let's find that money, because it should have been used for its intended purpose to begin with. Thank you.